to see some resolve and some fight from your team in Game 4. Is that something that you can coax out of them, or is that just, do they need to have that internally?
Well, I can talk about it, and I can bring it up, and you can talk about urgency and physicality and aggressiveness, but ultimately it's on our players to take that to the floor and take the fight to the game. And we just watched film, and the film was, you can't hide from it. And I told our players, accept it, own it, embrace it, and let's be better tomorrow. And try to, tie it up 2-2 going back to Denver. But, they dominated us with their physicality, their screens, their rebounding, and their aggressive drives. And so we got to be a lot better tomorrow.
Coach, that's Pirtle involved with that.
Yeah, he's averaging 5 offensive rebounds a game. He's shooting 60% from the field, limited attempts, but we were one of the top rebounding teams in the NBA this season, and they have out-rebounded us in all 3 games this year. So that is indicative. Rebounding is indicative of your physicality, and we just haven't been doing that at the level we're accustomed to, and that has to change tomorrow. If we have any chance of winning tomorrow, we've got to set the tone early with our physicality, with our hit-first mentality, and with our rebounding, and hopefully we can do that.
Coach, you talked about the need for players to hold each other accountable and get comfortable with uncomfortable conversations. The message coming from you in film study is one thing. How do you think the team has responded with challenging each other in these moments?
I'm sure that there's room for improvement. They're still growing. I think these playoffs are all like so many first experiences for so many of our players. So Game 1 was the first playoff game. Game 3 was the first road playoff game. And, there's definitely room for improvement and growth there, Adam. I think we all agree with that. But the having those uncomfortable conversations in a playoff game, in a playoff series, I think guys are trying to figure it out themselves first. But at the end of our film session, I asked each guy, well, not each guy, but a few of our guys to kind of talk about what their individual approach is for tomorrow. And guys are all saying the right things, and helping each other and covering for each other and playing for each other was one of the messages that was delivered. So hopefully our guys can continue to grow in that area.
Coach, how much of playoffs is not just the X's and O's, but the want, the determination?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything. Obviously the game plan and knowing their plays inside out, like they know our plays, is a part of it. Drawing up plays out of a timeout is a part of it. But I think more important are those intangibles. Or I thought a few of our guys actually came out in that game yesterday like it was a regular season game. Like it was just, okay, Game 3 in San Antonio. And they came out with the full understanding of what was at stake. And those are learning lessons for a young team. So the urgency and the aggressiveness and just the physicality that we were lacking yesterday is all a part of it. And they all have to improve for us to have a chance tomorrow.
Coach, what's the line? You mentioned physicality, the players have too. The line between being physical and then sending them to the foul line, because that's a tough one to cross.
Yeah, it's, I think one thing is, if you set physical screens the whole game like they do, you're going to, the rest will let you play. I thought we did a really good job in Game 1, pretty good in Game 2. Last night we didn't screen. So, for example, Paul Millsap late in the game finally sets a screen, and they call him for an illegal screen because that's the first time they saw us really set a good screen the whole night. Jakob Poeltl sets really good moving screens, and he does it the whole game, and he gets away with it. So, you have to be smart with your physicality, Vic. You can't be just out there running around reckless, but the rebounding, as we're ball watching, they're moving bodies. We've got to get into a mindset of instead of ball watching, the shot is taken, hit the nearest jersey, drive them out. And they're setting their screens lower and lower because we're going under on Derrick White. Push the screen out, get into the ball. Derrick White didn't feel us last night. He woke up this morning probably feeling very spry because he had the easiest 36 points he's ever had. And that can't happen.
Where are you at in terms of making a change to the starting lineup, or like you said last night, just kind of tweaking things a little bit with your rotation?
We'll continue to look at that. All options are on the board. Obviously it's never about any individual. It's got to be about what's best for our team. So, we're going to meet all afternoon as a staff, rewatch the game, figure out what our best options are moving forward. And if we have to make a lineup change, we'll do so. If we stay with the same lineup. If we feel that will give us our best chance, we'll stay. But no decision has been made yet in that regard.
And how do you think Jamal reacted to just kind of the film, and what are you expecting from him in Game 4 here?
You know, I'm hoping that he kind of has the same reaction Derrick White had. You know, Derrick White was a recipient of Jamal Murray's great play in the fourth quarter of Game 2, and he came out in Game 3 highly motivated and in attack mode. And we've got to get Jamal playing at a higher level. You know, in 3 playoff quarters now, in games, 12 quarters, you know, Jamal has impacted, you know, the game at a high level in one of those. And Derrick White right now is at 23 points per game, 69% from the field. And, you know, Jamal's got to take that personally. And, you know, and I expect that to happen tomorrow afternoon.
How difficult of a balance is it between getting Malik in there off the bench and obviously benefiting from his scoring versus playing Torrey and maybe locking down someone else on the perimeter?
Yeah, that is kind of a catch-22 because both of those guys warrant more minutes, and they both bring something different to the table. Both of them were on the floor to start the second quarter, which was our best stretch of the game, 16-0. But Torrey's size and physicality, his hustle, like Torrey Craig was leaving it all on the floor, which I love. And then Malik's obviously shooting. You know, he's been one of our best offensive players this whole series, shooting the ball very confidently, attacking the basket, and also playing pretty good defense. So both of those guys warrant more minutes, and I'm sure they'll both get a great chance to play extended minutes tomorrow.
You talked about Derrick White's blow-bys last night.
And I was, by the way, I just want to clarify, I said 16 after the game, it was actually 19. So we found 3 more after watching the film, unfortunately.
Okay. Is it better to send them to the line than just let him blow by? I mean, obviously you want to get in front of him so he doesn't blow by you, but that's old guy question, old playoff question there, I guess.
Yeah, and that was the point. I mean, like, how many times are you going to watch a guy just go to the basket for a layup? I mean, and I know that maybe because my father was with Detroit and the Bad Boys, and the game has changed quite a bit, but, you know, and this is really a fine line. I don't want anything to be construed as, hey, we're going to play dirty. We're not a dirty team. We don't have that mentality. You know what I mean? It's just not who we are. And the rules don't allow that, thank goodness. But, you know, I mean, you have to be willing to take a hard foul sometimes. Because when a guy gets that comfortable, and it was, I think out of his 36 points, 26 were in our paint, I mean, that's, at some point it becomes ridiculous. And, you know, once again, it's on our guards because he didn't feel us. It's on our bigs. And it's just on who's ever near the basket. Yeah, you know, send a message, put him on the foul line, make him earn it. And we never did that last night. And once again, I'm not saying play dirty, but, you know, I think in the playoffs, it's got to be physical basketball, and you got to make teams earn everything. And it was way too easy for them last night.
Was Pirtle's screen on Jamal, was that dirty?
I don't think it was dirty. Like, same thing I'm just saying. Like, I don't think they're a dirty team. I know Coach Pop, it's not anything he preaches. I thought it was an illegal screen, either a trip or an illegal screen. You can't have your feet outside the base of your shoulders. And I thought the width of his screen and his feet in that were too wide. So it should have been something. But here's the killer on that play. All right, no call. Jamal gets tripped. Keep playing. We let Derrick White just go into the rim and the paint for an N1. So if the call is not made, you still have a job to do. You know, don't watch Derrick White saunter in for another layup and put him on the foul line for an N1. So I did think it was an illegal screen. Obviously, it's one of those clips that we'll send in and kind of wait to see. It doesn't really matter because it's not like you send the clips in, they can change it. But just trying to point out some of the screens that we think are being set illegally.
But if that play's not dirty, and LaMarcus's groin punch, whatever you want to call it, isn't dirty, are those plays then an example of playing with an edge in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think LaMarcus's play on Gary was like it was just kind of accidental. I mean, like, you know, when screens are set and you're trying to fight through screens, there's contact. You know, obviously the screen that Jakob Pertl sets great screens. He gets guys open. I mean, I'm jealous. I mean, so give him credit. He's out there. He's putting wood on people, and we have to do the same thing. You know, and I think the playoffs, it goes up a level, and you need a physicality. And when you do it every possession, it's like John Thompson at Georgetown years ago. Georgetown fouled every possession. The refs weren't going to call If you pick your spots to foul, okay, they're gonna call. So we just got to be more aggressive all the way around, setting better screens, finding bodies, freeing each other up. And when we do that, like we did in game 1, at a very high level, good things happen for you. So we have to have that mindset tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, everybody.